Shut up and sit down.
Cyclist Tyler Hamilton had to explain why somebody else's blood was in his veins. He claimed a vanished twin absorbed by his body in the womb. The court didn't buy it.
A Russian lab used a secret hole in the wall in an attempt to win Olympic medals, making this the first known example of a literal glory hole.
On Schenkoff's cocktails of 3 different performance-enhancing drugs were, on his instructions, washed down by athletes with alcohol to shorten the detection period. Chivas for male athletes, vermouth for the ladies.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. I'm looking into blood doping. I think it will allow me to write jokes with greater intensity and for a longer period of time. Enjoy the podcast.
People are smart. Do they say, has Lance Armstrong ever tested positive? No. Has Lance Armstrong been tested? A lot.
Wow. That is some confident lying. Remember, this is the man who looked America dead in the eyes and said, bicycling is a very cool sport, and we f***ing believed him. For as long as there's been science, people have used it to juice the human body. In the 1920s, a Russian-born French surgeon grafted thin slices of chimp testicles into people's scrotums, which was obviously ridiculous. These days we know you need a thick slice of chimp testicles. That's when it starts to work.
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing, and I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Sir Lancelot the Slow right here.
In the house.
In the house. Happy to be here.
Slow or fast, we will take you however we can get
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And you're looking good today, man.
Unconditional love.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
She's right, Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? We are getting some work done today.
Feverishly typing away.
I am fully listening at this moment right now, but I actually have a lot of news for my backpedal, so I'm just going to talk for 40 minutes.
Perfect.
And then I'll just hope that holds over for my lack of knowledge during the topic.
And that guy talking
What
right
is
there,
everybody drinking today?
Mr. Evan Price.
I'm sipping on a Spindrift.
We are all drinking something different. I'm not sure
How
if
many
that's
Red Bulls
ever
have you had
actually
today?
happened. Honestly, it's 3 cups coffee. It's not. It's no Red Bull today.
Different kind of
Trying to
caffeine.
cycle
Gotcha.
off, I'm going the reverse Lance approach. I'm cycling off energy drinks to coffee.
Just straight to coffee.
Yeah. That could
Excellent.
work for you.
All right, let's talk about some backpedal. Matt, I'm going to save you. No, I'm going to save these 2 jokers over here to our left and right.
Oh, yeah, because we'll just talk.
What'd you do this past week,
All
Matt?
I did was bike, break my rear derailleur hanger,
seriously?
and drag it on the ground and almost get killed in the middle
Like
of the
you
road.
do, yeah.
And, yeah, my rear wheel came to a complete stop, and I did not fall over. And then I immediately took the bike. I walked it home, it was only half a mile, and I put it directly on the back of my car, texted Jake, and I said, hey, what you doing?
How you doing?
What you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I came in here, and it was absolutely swamped. That was on Friday.
Yeah. It was,
But we put it together,
Yeah.
and it's functional. I rode it yesterday.
This your road bike?
It's a road bike.
Yeah.
good.
And, yeah.
Good times.
It's bikes are fun. I still think that people should go Ultegra over SRAM Force.
You do?
Yes, I have decided that. It is decided.
my hanger's still perfectly attached to my bike, though. So.
Yeah,
As is mine.
Evan, do you have any problems with your SRAM Force?
No.
No?
It's pretty good. I will say I once dropped the front chain ring in the 2 years I've had that bike now.
Wait,
once.
but it's a one by, isn't it?
No.
No, not on my road bike.
On your road bike.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
road
was
bike.
also my fault because I was going up a very steep climb and shifted under pressure.
I still drop my chain.
Even yesterday?
Yep.
How many times have you dropped your chain in the last 2 years?
All. Well, he's had that bike for a little over a year now.
I've had the bike for a year. I probably dropped it 50 times.
Okay, so I've dropped it once in that time period. You have dropped it 50.
We've spent some time working on that thing, too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's been a booger.
It might be worth a phone call over to SRAM.
Your force doesn't drop. I kind of don't believe you. That's
really
how.
doesn't.
That's
I
how
swear,
convinced.
I
I
swear
am.
it's only dropped once. Really.
Yeah.
It didn't drop once during the Eversting too, and there was a lot of opportunities for it. So.
Yeah. We've had a couple people that have, well, not a couple, like you and one other person that have had problems. The other person is riding a Trek, and he has perpetual problems with chain drop. And I have gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, and we can't figure out what in the world's going on there. And then we've had, dozens of other people that are just riding just fine.
I've had zero issues with mine, too.
You don't have force. You have red.
Thank you.
And it's an older generation.
Oh,
That is
red's
also
red's
true.
great though. This is. I mean, yeah,
think
yeah.
that-
If
I
you give
do
me the
think
choice,
that
I
the
go
red-
force or
I
red.
have
I'll go
force
red every time.
Well,
I have force on my
And the money.
cyclocross
Yeah,
bike.
I know. If you
I
gave
thought that was red. On
It's
the giant.
force.
Is it?
it's force on your
Oh.
on your mountain
Cyclocross
bike.
On my cyclocross
Oh,
bike.
cyclocross
Yeah.
bike.
and
Nice.
no problem. And
No.
it's one by though.
One by.
Yeah, I think the one by.
See, my one by Axis Red is stupendous, but that's
Yeah,
also.
I think
not
I would
cheap.
go
So-
go one by.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't going one by, I would go Ultegra. Especially, I would try the new Ultegra probably.
Well, you know what, Matt? Next time I call SRAM, I've got phone calls that go into them pretty regularly. I'll ask them. I'll let them know that I've got one guy in particular that's
It's
having
weird
some.
because he has the same bike.
Yeah.
Like it,
Yeah. There's quite a few people that have the same bike.
the same bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well,
That aside, I still think that SRAM's a better product than the Ultegra Di2 11-speed stuff. That's just my personal opinion,
we haven't
but
seen the 12-speed stuff yet.
not yet. Maybe sometime in the next
But-
5 years we'll see that.
Yeah.
Even though
My
it's been announced.
11-speed Ultegra is like shifts like its
Yeah.
job. Like that's its job because it is its job.
That's its job.
We'll look into that for you. Anything else up in this past week?
Swimming, no, nothing big. I ran for the first time 1 mile with Dash.
I liked
and
that pace
think-
for your
I
ankle.
think
That
it
was wonderful pace.
I think it's the first time I've run in like 4 weeks or 3 weeks. Whenever the Columbia
Good.
River run was.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
three
Oh,
or 4 weeks.
That's a great question.
And,
3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, we ran through the woods, which is what he wanted to do, and then we ran by this house that
Of
they call
course,
the
Dash would
Mansion
wanna run
House
through the
by
woods.
Jake's house.
Yep.
With the secret door. That was the big thing.
Oh,
And that's what he wanted to do, so that's what we did.
cool.
Dash is the 6-year-old.
He's my
Youngest.
youngest kid. Yeah,
oh,
he's 6. Yeah.
He's 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yes.
I'll backpedal real quick, just get out of the way. Not a fantastic week for anything.
Oh, but you and I both have not missed any days.
We have not. So I've stayed
So-
consistent. I'm still rocking and rolling with that.
Did you take any days off at all since you're
No.
So you're rolling it.
Yes. He's at
Yeah.
like 3. You're almost at 400.
Today will be 391.
Yeah.
391.
That's a lot of trainer rides, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it works. I mean, it's an hour of exercise, but there's a lot of trainer rides in there because my shoulder's stupid. It's like I
This-
rode my gravel bike yesterday. Nothing egregious, nothing technical, nothing about it, and it was just an hour and a half ride, and I totally am feeling it today. And it's I
Where'd
don't
you
know.
go? Did you just go out?
Just the standard, normal, typical, easy
Dike,
you know,
whatever.
Heritage, Lacamas, out towards the dike and back. So hour and a half, and it's dumb.
We need to get you back doing steroids and strength training here.
Back to steroids.
I was just assuming since you were in California, I just assume everybody in
In
California
California
does steroids.
Maybe I need to move back to California then. Yeah, I don't know. Cortisone shot would be fantastic because I think that would give me some relief. But in the end of the day, the shoulder still doesn't work. It sucks. So anyway, I don't want this isn't shoulder talk. So
shoulder
This is
talk.
shoulder talk with
Followed up by mustache talk.
Everybody has facial hair.
cyclocross, mustache, and shoulders.
oh, we did do the last official flogging ride.
We
on
did the
Thursday.
last
That was
flogging.
a blast. Did you know that we did 27 of those this year?
That's fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's awesome.
It's a good ride.
Yeah, and then we've got an
intense.
encore version of it coming up this week. I don't know if
Which
you guys
is
got
the
the
chill
invoice.
pace, right?
I saw that.
I
Actually,
didn't-
Chill until we hit the lake.
Oh, great. And it's not chill pace. We are just going again.
Going again. Hey, ask Paul. He'll tell you. It's how we get our intervals in for the week. But
What's the deal with the bonus one, or is this like a?
there's not going to be individual groups. So normally it would be
everyone goes?
4 different groups, A, B, C, and D, and everybody would be spaced out by 5 minutes. And that pacing worked really well to get everybody to the regroup at about the same time, and then we would leave, and everybody would kind of come back together. And if you got dropped, then you just kind of came back on your own, ability levels or your pace, and it was all fun. So
this one's going to be different because everyone's just going to go
We're all
together.
going to be together.
we're all going to leave
This
at the
is
same time.
This is the chance for the C group to show you guys what's up.
Yeah.
We've been sleeping this whole time.
For them to lay it down on us.
We are going to lay the smack down
Yeah.
for sure.
So everybody's going to leave at the same time at 5:40 p.m. And if you're feeling like you need a little bit of a handicap or a little bit of extra time, you can come out and leave a few minutes early, and we'll chase that little carrot all the way up to the regroup. So other than that, yeah, it was just another standard week.
It was spicy. The flogging ride was still quite
Holy
spicy.
cow, yes.
Yeah.
I was
dropped.
wondering if you were going to take it easier because you had your race.
No.
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 I went full gas. Well, not completely full gas, but I still got dropped by the front 5 fast guys. You and a bunch of POA guys.
And Paul was up there pushing the pace too.
Paul's
He
freaking
attacked
crushing
and attacked again and attacked 5 more times. Just
I
kept
crashed-
going hard.
I crashed on the way to the flogging ride.
On your mountain bike?
We're on the mountain bike.
Remember I told you?
That's an interesting choice of
Yeah.
bike for that ride.
That's what I rolled in there with that mountain bike and everyone
Yeah.
was like, ooh, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Lance, did you happen to check your normalized power getting to the school for the
Getting
first regroup?
to the school was 310 for me, which is really quite
That was your
high.
MP or average?
That was my average.
Your average? Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty high.
It's legit for that first 25 minutes or whatever.
That whole pace all the way up there was just breakneck. So,
It's a lot.
anyway, that was a good week. Fun times. Evan Price, you said you got some stories to tell.
We got some non-cycling stories
Hold,
here.
Lance, we'll get you in about 40 minutes here. Hold
All
on.
right, I'm gonna take a nap.
There was I forget the man's name, but it was it's dedicated to somebody, but the somebody runnery at Hudson's Bay Cross Course, which is a run around Hudson's Bay track in the dirt, the concrete. There's a hay bale jump over and a steeplechase style jump
Real
over.
cross country.
Now, the old guys decided that the hay bales were way more welcoming for me than trying to jump over a water pit. So I chose the hay bale route personally.
Yep.
And the course for the old guys, not even the old guys too, because there were some high schoolers racing with us, but it was a 3.8, I think, 3.6 kilometer course.
It's a weird distance.
Yeah. I think the reason they do that is because they give us one less lap than the high schoolers, and another lap gets you to 5K. So
They should just run 5K.
that's what I'm thinking. What do they think? We can't handle that? I mean, I'm glad they didn't, because by the end of that race, I was like, that's fine. I don't need another lap.
So you went hard.
Yeah. So this was going to be my last hard run before I'm racing this weekend in the Best in the West Triathlon, which
That's
I
this
am
weekend.
making an A race because I'm only racing this and maybe one other half Ironman this year. So
that's this weekend and also Maple Valley.
yes,
And
Maple
the weather
Valley.
conditions look fantastic.
It's going to be
Where-
rainy.
Where
It's gonna
is
be-
Best in the
Oh, wait
West?
a second.
Cold.
Best in the West is in Sweet Home. Or
Okay,
or
so
somewhere.
like
It's
Sweet Home,
in
Oregon.
Willamette
Albany?
Valley, Oregon.
Middle of nowhere, Oregon.
yeah,
Yeah.
like kind of nearish Salem.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like
Okay.
Salem is that. Well, Albany's technically the closest city,
Okay.
but that is
But it's-
a
it's-
strong word to call Albany
It's
a
up
city.
the
so-
canyon from
Yeah,
Albany.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is one of my favorite course lineups I've ever seen. This is about a 3,000 foot elevation gain on the bike, and I think over 1,000 on the run.
Oh, this is good for you.
Oh, it's just a brutal course. This is
hard. I
very
remember-
brutal course.
I
Yeah.
remember thinking that one hurt.
Yeah, this one's gonna sting bad. There will be one other pro racing there, so technically this is a pro race in my opinion. This is
Between you
a
and
field
the
of
other
two.
guy.
This is it is.
Except for you guys will be separated the whole time.
Yeah, because so Andy Kruger is the one who I will be racing. He already beat me at Columbia River in the Olympic distance, and he proved there that he can swim significantly faster than I can. Not just kind of fast. Like we are in different planets of swim fitness. He is a lead pack Ironman pro type swimmer. I am not. So
You're gonna have to catch him on the climb.
I will be chasing him all day and fully
that'll be
plan
fun.
on making him nervous as possible. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if you catch him, it'll be on the run.
Yeah. Or if I just decide to really go hard on the bike, like really, really hard, because it's a very spicy bike. So there's going to be, Yeah.
I don't know.
we'll see. I'm feeling.
It's a pretty bike course. You go out, there's like this covered bridge, if I remember correctly.
That's what I hear people talk about. Yeah.
You might like do a turnaround there. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been a
pretty
few
excited
years
for
in my brain.
the bike course. It seems like it's a lot of fun. Very spiky though, so that'll be a blast. But going back to the cross country race was my last tough workout for the day or for this build. Well, not I did a tough bike workout the day after, but we did me and Josh went and raced the community race before the high schoolers race, and it was.
Did you break 5 on the first mile?
Yeah, we went out.
You were sub 5 the whole
It was like
pace,
4:57. I think my
4:57?
average came out to 5:04 or 5:05, I think. But it was a tough but fun course. There's a lot of turns, so it was a real good cross country course. It was mixed between concrete and grass. I'd actually almost rather it had been just on grass. It was weird going from grass to concrete and back and forth.
What
and
shoes did you wear?
I just wore my Endorphin Pros. I just wore like my racing flats, basically.
Okay.
But there was a kid who me and Josh have been training with named Nicholas Marty, who is unbelievably strong in the area. He's going to be racing for Lewis and Clark this year, cross country. And he will generally smoke us in 400s on the track, and I was thinking the same thing was going to happen on this cross course, but he goes out in the first mile maybe 4:53, 4. I was a little bit off of him, and he takes a little bit of a wrong turn at one point. He goes...
Did you yell at him, or were you like... Hey,
I tried to,
hey,
and he was joking with me
wrong.
after the race. He's like, I did not. He's like, you did not yell at me. I was like, I did.
Wrong turn. Wrong turn.
It was.
Hey, keep going. You're
I
doing
will admit,
great.
it was not. It was not a loud. It was not a loud. Hey, you're going the wrong way.
Oh, you can't hear me? All right. Well.
So he flips around, probably loses about 10 seconds, which is the exact time he lost by. So I know I would not have won this race if he had gone the right way. But being the savvy old guy I am, I paid attention to the course map before the race.
Son, you gotta pay attention to the course map, son.
So he is reeling me in the rest of the race, but was able to hold him off just barely. Poor Josh got nipped at the line by him. So Nicholas chased Josh all race and then nipped him right at the line. But we got him at the end where he thought we were joking, but me and Josh were going to do tempo 5K right after the race. We're like, that's what we do because we race half Ironmans, and the 5K is not our goal. So he thought we were joking. We're like, no, Nicholas, you're coming with us onto the track. And he was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this now. And this is where the old guys got him. We wore him down there towards the end. But
5K is, it's getting up there, and that's
it was fun.
Big mega miles. What was your 5K on the track?
Like 5:20 pace. Felt good.
Good.
Yep. I think I'm ready to try and run really fast on a tough course. So
yeah.
Yep.
You're ready for it.
Ready for it.
Like it.
Gonna have fun.
It's a tough course. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a fast course.
No. This is not. If I go sub 4 on this, I missed a turn or somewhere. Like there's no way I'm going sub 4 on this course. But I'd be flying on that course.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun.
And the weather conditions are gonna be. You just need to be careful in the rain on the bike. And
we're expecting rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
thunderstorm
Sunday.
on Saturday. Yeah. And
is it Thursday too? I thought it was Friday.
Maybe it's just Friday.
Oh,
but
please tell me that's the truth.
we got some rain coming.
We should go
'Tis
for a
the
ride
season.
on Thursday. Skip out of work, everyone.
Hey, there you go.
You should
Talk to my
Rain-X
boss
your
about
visor.
I will for sure. Yeah. Or I honestly do pretty well in the rain without. I don't like stuff covering. I'm probably gonna flip up the visor in all honesty if it's raining. I don't like that. Yeah.
That it?
That is all for me.
Cool. That wasn't 40 minutes.
Ooh, it's definitely going to be storming on Saturday. That sucks.
Hey, Lance.
Yeah.
You raced your bike.
I did. But first, yes, I am still up on the dialed 100.
Atta kid.
As is my wife, Brandy.
I have seen that, and she's killing it.
She is killing it.
Did she have a run-in with a dog or something like that on a bike ride?
I don't
An
think
off-leash
so.
dog or something like that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we were riding on a trail around the Sun Valley area, and somebody had a puppy, and we were the guy was off the trail and had the dog sitting, and I went past first. Piper, our dog, was running with us. He was riding with us. So I go past first. Piper goes past, and his dog bolted out right as Piper went past, and Brandy was right behind Piper. So, boom, she drilled his puppy.
The puppy? Oh, was the
Yeah.
puppy okay?
The puppy like,
it and then took off, and the guy ran after her, and then she just cowered. We couldn't tell. We stick around for 10 minutes saying, "Hey, is he okay? Is everything okay? What do we need to do?" And the owner wasn't really responding to us, so we finally just.
Was he embarrassed, or was he upset about his dog, or was it both?
I think he was upset about his dog.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It wasn't our fault.
No.
But yeah.
The dog was off leash.
The dog was off leash. Yeah. But so was our dog off leash.
But Piper's not a dog. She's Wonder Pup.
She had no interest in the other dog. She was like,
no,
it's all business.
She doesn't
right
care about
now.
other dogs. She cares about other
dogs.
She cares about Lance, Brandy, and squirrels.
Yes. She just wants to run with us and then
What if
chase
there's
squirrels.
a squirrel and you guys are going together?
Squirrel.
On the.
I keep my remote.
And she gets a beep?
She gets a beep if she takes off.
Okay.
And we've had her take off before and just beep
my dog, when she's running with Kristen, it's all business. No other dogs, no nothing. Sometimes there's a rabbit, a little bit of interest there. But it's business time. That dog did I don't remember, 15 miles or something this weekend.
Oh my god!
Wow.
I feel like Piper's the most underappreciated member of your household.
Yep.
Matt,
Pepper.
My God, sorry.
Pepper.
Piper.
Pepper.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Pepper.
Underappreciated.
Pepper is very underappreciated.
Yeah, she is.
Because as Cassie and I have
She's a
gone over
rat.
to your house, there's a lot of down talking of this poor dog, mostly from Mr. Legrand. It's actually
She's not a real
it is
dog.
all
That's
from
one.
Mr. Legrand. Everybody else is in full appreciation of this dog. Matt does not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. It was funny with this streak. We're trying to keep the streak alive.
Yep.
My wife, Brandy, tomorrow she's going river rafting with a bunch of her friends, and she's going to be gone from 4 a.m. until like 10 p.m.
Oh, wow.
And
Get one of those river.
She getting up at 3 o'clock to
river-
ride on Zwift?
her major concern was, how am I going to get my ride in?
Get one of those river bikes.
10:30 till 11:30 before midnight, and then just fall asleep for 10 hours.
She told me this is her plan. She has a soccer game tonight. She won't get home till like 10:30 or 11
Oh, she's
o'clock
gonna
from the
do it at
soccer
1
game.
a.m., isn't she?
She's going to ride at like 12:01.
You know what she could
That
do?
is awesome.
She's going to get on the
Right
train
from-
at 12:01.
I've heard it's-
11 to midnight. Take a quick break. Just press the stop button.
Stop
and ride
button.
from 12 to 1.
Right, 12 to 1. I
Wow,
think she's
that's
out
bold.
riding right now, probably. So she
my
gets,
gosh.
yeah.
You're awesome,
Dedication.
Brandy.
Yeah, so Brandy's
I got
killing
trip
it.
Nothing
to
like
Boston.
river
I'm
rafting
worried
on
I
2
might
hours
not
of
be able
sleep.
I don't know what I'm going to do in Boston for biking.
Yeah, you're going to be in
Rent a bike.
you're going to be in the hotel, in the fitness
Yeah,
room
I
in
can
the
do that.
hotel.
Yep.
That's-
Counts.
That's what you're going to do.
Super fun.
Sometimes those fitness bikes in those rooms are actually super nice. When we stayed in the Marriott in Des Moines, that was like the nicest
Really?
hotel room fitness bike. It was like better than any gym bike I've ever
I was
been
thinking about like doing
They're
those
fine.
little, like day rental, like
Yeah,
the
that'd be
city
way more
bikes.
Yeah,
fun.
just rent
Do
the city
that.
bike.
I'm thinking that might
on.
be
Don't sit in the
fun.
hotel room and do that.
We
might be fun.
where were we? We were in like Florida or something, and it was like too hot. We weren't going to ride, so we had a hotel this night so that we could do laundry. This was the point of getting a hotel. And so we went to the fitness room to ride the stationary bikes. No stationary bikes in the fitness room. They had like 2 treadmills, and we're like, oh, I guess we're riding outside.
Oh,
So anyway, that happened. Okay, I'm going long here.
Yes.
on with the back pedal.
Onto the back pedal. Yes, I raced my bike. There was a cyclocross race in Redmond, Oregon, which was right next to Bend. It was kind of touch and go whether it was actually going to happen because we have wildfires in the west right now, and the AQI, the smoke index in Bend, was over 300 all week long.
Yeah.
And so
300. Those are big numbers.
Yes, I mean it's unhealthy over 150.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's unhealthy to everybody over 150. I think
Yes.
over 100 is sensitive groups.
Correct.
Do you remember this? Yeah, we all got this major. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all got an AQI education last year.
Yes, we did.
I loosely remember
and,
this.
and I believe this will be our normal for
Did
the
you know-
next.
One of my
decade
patients was
or
telling
more.
me like Beijing like sits in the 200s.
Yes.
It's like all the time.
Yes.
How do you
Don't
live
you remember
there?
when they had the Olympics?
Yeah.
And they were talking about how poor the air quality was?
That'd be
and-
awful.
People are wearing masks for events in the Olympics in Beijing.
Yeah.
In
I just
Beijing,
live in a respirator.
If you own a car, depending on the last
time of day.
depending on the last number of your license plate are the days of the week you're allowed to drive
That's
your
what it is.
car.
It's the days of the week. Yeah.
If you have
Really?
Yep.
if you have an odd number, you can only drive your car on odd number days. That's one of the things.
Let's
they try
implement
to
that
do.
in the U.S. because
Unless you have a
bike
lot of
lanes.
money and then they don't care.
You get another car.
Yes.
With another license
With an
plate.
even number and an odd number.
Crap, both my cars have odd numbers.
You got to be kidding me. This is
Get another one.
just keep buying.
Anyway, so the AQI was bad all week, but there was a wonderful rainstorm that came through on Friday and basically cleaned the air out in the Redmond area. So we were looking at numbers under 100 for race day, which was fantastic. The course was at the fairgrounds, which was a fantastic spot to hold a race because there was all this parking, there was tons of room, there just wasn't any elevation game anywhere, and not much technical stuff for a cyclocross race. They had us go through some sagebrush sections, which was kind of cool, and like through some barns, and they picked like the muddiest spots in the rodeo grounds so that we could like have some mud, but it warmed up too nicely on Saturday and all the mud dried up. So it ended up being a pretty flat and fast course. So that was kind of crazy.
Rodeo grounds.
On the rodeo grounds.
Did you wear like cowboy hat?
They were actually, it's called Can Chaser, like for the barrel racers going around cans.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to have a barrel racing demo in between the morning races and the afternoon races. But the horse had been outside all week, and they're like, he can't take any more smoke, and so we're not gonna. So the demo got canceled.
Man.
So the smoke killed the Can Chaser demo. I raced the 50-plus age group. For whatever reason, we go at 9:30 in the morning. It's the second race in the morning, so it was very early. The course was much wetter when I went, so it was slower.
Sure, it sounds like a good excuse. Keep going. What else you got?
Well, just compared to the lap times, looking at the lap, I'm going to shut up now.
Yes. Any more excuses? Okay.
So there were like 18 or 19 people in my field, in a 50-plus field. And it started with this big grass section, and there were 5 of us that ended up getting away, and all 5 of us just from the gun, like halfway through the first lap, there were 5 of us who gapped basically the rest of the field by a couple minutes, and all 5 of us basically stayed together the entire time.
Did it just in a sprint?
It right up until the very last lap when everything just ramped up and kind of people went for it. So it was super fun racing because it's 5 guys that we've been doing things, that I've been racing for quite a while. So we kind of all know each other and we know everyone. But it was funny. It was such a long, flat, grassy section that we all knew we're not gonna get away.
Right.
Nobody's going to get away if somebody attacks in this point because we're all just kind of riding together. It just made for really kind of exciting racing. But
like tactic style.
Yes, it was. There were some tactics. I ended up I ended up 4th. So
not bad.
The last lap rolled around and I just could not quite hang with the guys who took off a bit harder, and so I ended up 4th, which was decent for me in that field. I think 2 weeks ago I was 7th in that field, so it was a bit of improvement. So
there you go.
It should be.
You didn't have any flogging hangover, did you?
No. My legs felt great.
Good.
Yeah, my legs felt great. I felt great. It was just, in cyclocross, it's repeated efforts. I can go 97% for a minute and a half, and then I can go 96% for a minute. And then I can go 97% for 30 seconds. And I only have,
so many bullets, yeah.
So many bullets. And so by the time that last lap came around, I just couldn't quite hang with those guys who had better bullets.
Yeah.
But you already came on the record to say you're looking for fitness in the middle of October.
Correct.
We're still towards the beginning of September. You're doing just fine, dude. And you're showing the progress that you want to make.
Yeah,
that's
doing
awesome.
Just fine. So I'm kind of super pleased with how
you don't want to be at your peak right now. No.
We had a bunch of teammates out there. Chris Surratt came out, raced. He won his race.
Attaboy, Chris.
Paul First, he just stepped out, but he freaking crushed it.
I think he said he got 6th.
He got 6th
in the elites.
In the elite field.
Yeah.
Yes. And the elite race was super fun, super crazy. They had 4 or 5 really fast guys there.
Sure.
Carl Decker was there. Some guy, Hank, that came over from Colorado. He had showed up. Ian Brown was racing.
Oh, wow.
Josh Kelly was racing. There was a bunch of big names there.
Sure.
Felipe Nystrom. They all kind of came and laid it down. In the very at the last lap, Carl Decker made a hard move to get away from Hank, the guy who was hanging with him, and gapped him by 3 seconds. Came super hot into a corner, washed out his front wheel, went down and got past literally with 10 seconds to go in the race.
Ouch.
So
that doesn't happen. Does he make it stick?
Yeah. He had it. He had already made his move and he had him.
Sucks.
And so you could even see the other guy was like, should I just let him have it?
Yeah.
It was like, he was like, he waited for us. He hesitated and then it was like, no,
it's like, I didn't win the race. Carl lost it.
Carl lost the race. He didn't win. So that was kind of exciting, but it was fun to watch. Paul out there, he crushed it. John Hatfield came and raced twice.
That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. Laura Mullen was there. She won her race.
Atta girl, Laura.
Good.
The whole Westfield clan was there. Jerry Pruitt came.
Yep.
It was a great time. What was super nice is where we could put the team tents. I could actually park the van right next to the team tents. So, Brandy was there. We had the van and all the stuff, and Piper was hanging out and watching the whole race.
Yeah.
And it was actually a great day. We had a really good day hanging out at the race. The cyclocross was just fun to be around.
That's awesome.
So.
Paul was telling me that he was kind of duking it out with a guy that was riding a mountain bike in the elites.
Correct.
And this guy was able to bunny hop all of the barriers on said mountain bike.
Yep, Landon Farnsworth.
Is that who it was? Okay.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, he's a pretty legit racer. He's won a bunch of mountain bike races this year, but he has been coming to the cross races. And
does he not own a cross bike and he's just riding a mountain bike because that's what he's got?
No, he has a cross bike.
He just thinks that's faster on that course.
He has a gravel bike. We're not really following UCI rules at these little races, so you can kind of race whatever you want. And on a grassy, flat course that was not technical like this, the mountain bike was probably faster.
Huh.
But I don't know. He kind of Paul beat him. Paul got around him, which is fantastic.
Let's go, Paul.
Yeah, Paul. But Paul's very fit right now, so it was fun to watch. So we had a fantastic time. It was all good. I can't. There's more races coming up. The race that's going to happen this weekend is Corn Cross. It is generally it's in a great location in this guy's cornfield.
Sure,
that's a big one though.
It's a big one. It's the first one that's going to be closest to Portland, so I'm guessing a lot of people will come.
Yeah.
And it's going to be rainy and wet and muddy. Yeah. Which
you'll like that actually. It might be good for you.
I actually don't enjoy it, but I do better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The more technical, nastier it is, the better it is for me.
Yeah.
So
that's the stuff that keeps me from going out and doing these things or even attempting to do them. I just can't, like, when it's muddy like that, it's just like I can't go down. Just can't. So but it's sure is fun to watch you guys.
Yeah. So
good times.
That's what's happened. So that was my week. I had a great week. That was fun.
Cool. Any news stuff that we're not gonna. Champ Bailey's still on vacation, but
Champ's on vacation.
Wow,
he's not around.
Won a bunch of races in Britain.
The Tour of Britain, there were 5 or 6 stages, and Wout van Aert won 4 of them.
And didn't win the overall somehow, right?
He did win the overall.
Oh, he did end up winning the overall.
He did end up winning the overall. Last day, he outsprinted Cavendish, and
I saw that.
Love that.
That's not about. I'm still taking hot takes on that. Cavendish doesn't win a single stage in the Tour de France if he doesn't have the greatest lead out train.
Right.
If any of the other top 6 sprinters in the world are on that same lead out train, Cavendish doesn't win a single stage.
So we do have the World Championships coming up, and we have Paris-Roubaix also coming up. The rescheduled Paris-Roubaix. Matthew Vanderpool, he did a little race. It's this weekend and ended up winning it. He outsprinted some names to win that. Is
he feeling better since his crash?
He has had back issues since he crashed.
He says he's not
Olympics.
sure if he wants to race Paris-Roubaix, but it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
I hope he does. But
because that's kind of
his jam.
The European Championships did happen. And Cabrelli outsprinted Remco Evenepoel.
Yes.
Remco Evenepoel would continue to be one of my least favorite cyclists and will for the rest of his career. He is a spoiled little brat and gets the finish line.
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, no, he's awful. Like the more and more stuff I hear about this kid, he's terrible. Listening to the interviews, all this. Sonny Cabrelli is a widely respected and liked guy in the peloton and has won the European Championships apparently, like, I'm going to get this wrong, it's like 3 or 4 times in its existence since like 2016. So, like, highly respected in this race. Remco is mad that Cabrelli's making him take pulls at the end, which, like, duh, if you're Cabrelli, you're like, why would I take a pull? Because if the guys behind us catch us, I'm still going to win because I sprint. So, Remco is getting angry. They get to the finish. Cabrelli outsprints him. Remco gets the finish line, lays his bike down, sits down, and gives him a middle finger right after the race.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, gives him the little, hit your elbow, like tight middle finger thing.
Thing.
Yeah, and if like Cabrelli's like on camera like laughing, it's like you can tell he's just looking at me like you're a joke, like you are.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, you need to learn how to race, kid. He's an amazing talent who I think will burn out at some point because he's not well liked and seems to be an issue. So
that's crazy.
So happy that an Italian won the European Championship there. Go Sonny Cabrelli.
Cool.
There also was Lotoja also happened this weekend. The Logan, Utah to Jackson, Wyoming race. It's a 203-mile road race.
Jesus.
They had like 3 or 4 hours of rain, and so the first half of the race was a little bit ugly. I actually don't know if there's a Pro Division and have no idea what happened to Pro Division. But our teammate, Andy Levine, ended up taking 7th place in the
50
Good job, Andy.
plus.
45 to 55 age group.
Attaboy, Andy.
One of my good friends, Jason Woodland.
Yeah, I saw that he was gearing up to do that.
He took second in that same
Wow.
field. So they did well. In the previous age group, 35 to 45, a couple of our local guys, Alex Yale
and Rob Tornai.
and Rob Tornai took first and second.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
read the recap on that. That was pretty fantastic.
Yep. I think Alex Yale attacked with like 6 miles to go and stayed away.
And Rob sat in the group
and-
waiting for some sort of response to that to get a free ride up.
Correct.
So
And then out sprinted everybody else.
Filled the other 7 guys and won.
So good for those guys too.
Yep.
So.
Cool.
Any triathlon races? There hasn't been anything. Has
Yes.
there? It's been quiet.
There was, coming up this weekend, we're going to have
Well,
better
yeah.
because there's 70.3 World Championships is coming up this
That's a
weekend
big one.
in St. George, Utah. Outside of that, there was races all over for Ironman, but no big pro races. Everybody's kind of
remember
gearing up
seeing
for
any
St.
results.
George. Yeah. There was Super League racing, which was an absolute blast to watch. Vincent Lewis is still fast. Hayden Wild still fast. Johnny Brownlee's still fast. There you go. That was basically it. Jessica Learmonth is like ridiculously fast. So, yeah. Britain is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Turns out.
basically it.
How about we jump into the topic for the day?
All right.
Do it.
You guys, hey, raise your hand at the table if you own a bicycle.
Yes,
Yes.
A few.
I do.
More than a few.
Raise your hand if you spent too much money on said bicycle.
No.
I think I got screaming deals. No.
We've all got some pretty nice bikes, so let's just call it what it is. And it's because, we enjoy cycling. So you sometimes put your pension where your passion's at. I've said that to a lot of folks, that if it's something you really enjoy doing, invest in it, invest in you, and enjoy doing it. The downside to that is when things kind of go awry, whether it be a bike crash, whether it be an unsavory person taking your said bicycle and walking off into the night with it. I don't want to get into too many specifics here, but I've got feelings there.
Same.
There's just a lot. We use these bikes too, so we also need to be mindful of how we use them and protecting them. So the topic for today is just protecting your investment of your bicycle. You have spent money on this, and it's something you love to do. And there's a lot of things that you can do to help minimize damage to it. Things that you can do to help from it getting stolen. Things that you can do to help insure it in case something does happen. So I wanted to run around the table and see what we are doing to mitigate the loss of our potential friend and bicycle.
Who's had a bike stolen here?
Personal bikes 0, shop bikes 5.
Never had a personal bike stolen, knocking on wood.
Wood, yeah.
Had a friend's, we had 2 bikes stolen from our house in undergrad, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt,
No,
you-
no
nothing?
bike stolen that I can think of.
I take that back. I had a Schwinn Stingray back in circa 1980, I think
know,
it
that's what I was
was.
trying to think back.
That was stolen. I'd only had it for like a day, and I rode it up to some little market. And we've gone to this little market when we did
Sure.
a team training camp. I don't
In
know if
Fallbrook.
Well, it's actually Rainbow.
Rainbow.
A suburb of Fallbrook, if you will.
I think I drank a Coke in the parking lot
Yes. So
No,
I went
Were you
in.
watching your bike?
That's the parking lot that
Watch
it's
your
stolen
bike,
from.
yeah.
Was it
I
you?
Maybe it was.
Maybe it was
me.
you.
I rode my bike over there. Was the best thing. Went inside for a minute and came back out. My bike was gone. Disappeared like a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
Gone. So anyway,
I've had 7 bikes stolen
What?
7.
7.
all at once.
Oh, that's right. I knew that you had a big swoop of bikes.
I lost a big soup of bikes all
Was
in
it just
one
like-
go.
I don't understand.
yeah, so-
Garage was open. Your house is like a Fort Knox. I don't understand.
That's why my house is a Fort Knox. It
That's
was during the remodel. So we're remodeling our home. There was no fence.
Okay.
I'm bothering Jake because I'm playing with the
fidgeting with Velcro. I'm like,
and it's making noise. It's bothering
It's like your nervous
Jake.
tick as you talk about
He's
this
It
bike.
is.
This
He's
was
getting
for-
so
this bike's
pissed
being
about it. He's
stolen.
just grinding his teeth. That was the Velcro. That was Lance's teeth.
So the home was being
So
remodeled.
the home was
you
being
had no
remodeled.
gate up,
We had no gate up, and we weren't living there. Nobody was living there.
and there's just tons of bikes in the garage.
Well, they weren't in the garage. They
They're
were
just out on the
out in a
street?
shed.
sitting on the street.
They
yeah.
were in a locked shed, and I came like they stole them like on a Friday night. Somebody broke into the shed and took all 7 bikes.
They knew there were bikes in there.
They must have, or they came on. I don't know how they got 7 bikes away. I think they drove in with something. I think they were hoping
Oh, my
to
God.
to to
Steal something.
from the work site.
Yeah.
Because there was
site.
stuff all over the place. And they got into the shed and were like, oh, there's all these bikes. And so stole all 7
Do you know it's one of
bikes.
the coolest videos I've seen? It's strangely satisfying to all cyclists who ever have to deal with these absolute lowlifes. But there was a guy who tied a invisible rope kind of to a tree and just leaned a bike up against it. And to watch these absolutely wretched human beings go and grab this bike, look around, and then jump on it right away and just snap their femur in half as they fly over the handlebars.
I've seen that before.
So satisfying.
Funny,
it was fantastic.
There's another one.
Did you see the guy who got pissed off at the guy who's running up with the camera? He's like, "You're an idiot." And the guy's like, "I'm going to sue you." It's like, "Are you really? You're going to sue me for the bike that you were just stealing next to the street?"
There's another one where they take the bicycle seat and they punch a hole in the bicycle seat and put the seat on a spring.
Yes.
So that the whole seat drops 12 inches and a pole comes out of the seat. So they jump on the bike and they go and sit down and
See,
That
this
sounds
is
horrible.
I know, because whenever we're talking how do we stop these things? Just make your house a fortress, make your house. It's like, no, you just want to make the bikes way less. If you make it way harder to steal the bike or way less enticing.
What if there was some secret switch on your seat where you're like,
right.
this'll.
I'm
this
gonna
keeps-
I'm gonna
this-
lock out the the poker.
Or you should. Oh, if there.
The thief poker.
The thief poker.
If there was a way to somehow make it incredibly hard for the pedals to turn over all of a sudden, just anything to make it incredibly hard to pedal the bicycle.
Yeah. So how did that story pan out for you?
Okay, he stole 7 bikes. They actually recovered 2 of them about 2 months later, and then since then I have built a fortress. And got an evil attack dog. I have a very vicious attack dog. And that's why my whole property is fenced with a gate and a code and I mean it's not an easy gate to get over.
I thought that was just because you didn't want us visiting.
I thought that
part of it is to keep all you undesirables out of the compound. And part of it is to protect my home. So I did make some different choices when I was fencing the property after that happened because of that. So,
I think you're going to see a lot more people start doing different home protection stuff in this region right now. Yeah.
Well, and not everybody can do that. I'm just I have a fairly big piece of property for the middle of the city, and so I was just able to do something. But yeah, we lost all those bikes.
Now, you were able to get some compensation for that, though, correct?
Oh, the thief did me a favor.
What, do you leave his ID?
No, I had
homeowners insurance.
I have a homeowners insurance, and it had replacement value clause in it. So I had
items from the
I
shed
had bikes
fall
that I
into
had paid $400 or $500 a piece for, but the replacement value was $4,000 or $5,000.
Nice.
So I was able to buy new bikes.
What was the bike
because
of
of
the
it.
7 that we were like, oh, that one
hurt the most?
That one was nice.
Did he get a triathlon bike?
2 triathlon bikes.
I've always thought that with thieves. It's if you're just wearing typical street clothes, riding on a time trial bike around time, people are going to, anybody who knows bikes can be immediately suspicious of you. It's you need to piece and sell that right away.
I had a classic stump jumper mountain bike that it was like a piece of art. I just, I never rode it, but I loved having it. And that's gone forever. My wife's bike that we had a hard time finding a bike to fit my wife properly. And so she was extremely upset, but it was one of the bikes that was recovered.
Oh,
that's good.
That's good. She still have it?
So she still rides it. It's still her road frame.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
But
so is that insurance that you had, is that an elective thing that you need to add on to your policy, or is that something that's just pretty much automatic with your standard homeowners
that's a good
insurance?
Question.
I should look into this.
I don't think it was added. My insurance guy is, I don't know, he just was looking out for me.
Yeah.
I think.
He's a good insurance guy. Yeah.
I had a good insurance guy.
Yeah.
He should be looking out for me because I have 15 insurance plans with him because I own lots of properties.
Yep.
And so they're all insured through him, and so I think he's been kind of looking out for me. But you can't, that was like a $30,000 claim to replace all those bikes.
Oh
yeah.
And you can't have many claims like that before they'll just not renew you.
Yeah.
Or let you go.
Yeah.
That's stuff that I'm getting worried about here at the lab.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 3 claims in less than 5 months.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
To any person trying to thief this, listening to this, we have put traps on every single bike in here. So if you want to steal one, go ahead. But you might be impaled.
And it will be on YouTube.
And it will be. We also put GoPros and all them so we can film you getting impaled.
So here's a good point. One of the reasons I was able to get coverage for all those bikes is because I hadn't written down serial numbers. That was dumb. I didn't write serial numbers down for all these bikes, but I had pictures of me with all these bikes, and I was able to say, these are the bikes that are all missing. Here's all the pictures.
Yep.
And this is what this bike is. This is what the value is. This is what their replacement value is. I made it simple for them because I had pictures of all those bikes.
And this is why you post bike pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
or have something, have something with you on it.
I think I have 400 pictures of me on each of my bikes individually.
Well, I know that if somebody ran into some sort of scuttlebutt here and maybe lost their bike and they purchased a bike through the lab, let's say it was a BMC, I can actually go back and cross-reference that with some
with all the serial numbers.
With all the serial numbers
Yes.
on the documentation that I get from BMC. So if you came to me and said, Jake, somebody stole my team machine, I said, yeah, sure, Lance, let me get you the serial number so that we can A, put that into the database, and B, so that you can get that over to your insurance company. So that said, I believe most bicycle manufacturers will provide the retailer that same information. So if you did buy your bike new from a retailer, there's a good chance that you can track that down if you need it in a pinch because you didn't have it. But it's always a good idea to jot that information down because it's a valuable asset. It's an asset that you should be keeping tabs of, and it should be insured so that if something goes wrong, get it replaced.
If you don't own your home or have homeowners insurance,
renters
renter's insurance does the same thing if you have renter insurance.
Yep.
But that's something not a lot of renters have.
Correct.
Is renter insurance because you have to seek that out. It's not like a requirement when you have a mortgage on a home.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's something to kind of seek out.
Actually, the apartment complex I was at before I moved in with Cassie was
said you need to have, or they offered it, or they required it.
Ooh, that's I'm pretty sure I got it. I think they required it.
Huh.
I got it just because it was a highly robbed region.
Yeah, right.
So yes.
How about you, Matt? You've never lost a bike, but
stolen.
Do you take any measures to protect your investment of your bicycles?
Homeowners insurance if it gets stolen on the property. I think is the way that rule works.
Attack Pepper.
Yeah.
Attack Pepperoni.
Yeah. He's trained a vicious dog too.
She is vicious.
Yeah.
I do have an invisible rope that.
There you go.
Ethan's pretty handy with a skateboard too. But
free enemas.
One of my big fears is that my kids are going to destroy my bikes in the garage.
Really knock them over, or
I mean, absolutely.
It's funny, we talk about thieves and stuff like that, but that's my
Matt's biggest concern is his own children.
and when we were talking about the rear derailleur not shifting, or whatever. How did that get thrown off? And I was like, well, maybe my kids messed something up, right? Because I'll finish a ride and I'll put the bike in the garage, but usually I will actually take it and move it inside the house because actually when I'm doing those YouTube videos, I like for the bike to be in the background and stuff.
And the studio's in the house.
In the studios. So I do try
to
move.
It's a war zone.
I do move the it's a mess. But I do move the bike inside a fair amount, which I think does protect it a little bit. I mean, you'd have if they break into our house, there's lots of things, but going and all the way upstairs and going into the office upstairs.
Getting it off the trainer.
It's more.
Throwing the back wheel on.
Yeah. It's more work there.
Right.
Of course, then the mountain bike's in the garage or whatever, and our garage it's right there for the taking. There's no major security systems there. I think, other things I'm starting to think okay, protecting the bike. We probably use the little chain catcher strips on the bottom. Do you guys use those? Some sort of. I think the BMC came with it, right? Little.
Are you talking about protecting the frame?
We should talk about how do you protect your frame of your bike. Some people will put pieces of tape there if they need to protect the
BMC,
frame.
The time machine comes with
it.
It
Comes with
and it also has it's almost a gravelly type tape to it. It almost feels like it's rubber. It's pretty thick.
It's textured. Yeah.
Well, before we move to frame protection, have you had? Do you have other things that have happened to you, Jake? or
No.
ideas about
How to protect.
from theft?
Do we want to talk about protection from theft?
Yeah.
He just has bookends.
Well,
He has the
there's-
Schwinn and then now. That's it. Everything was good between
Well,
1980
everything
and
was great.
2020.
Thankfully, we have insurance here at the lab, but the downside to that is it carries a pretty heavy deductible. So each time that happens, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
$3,000 that we're out, plus the opportunity to have a bike to sell to somebody that wants to come in and purchase it.
Which is big right now because you
Because
can't get bikes.
yeah, it's
They're in short
supply. Exactly. So there is that, but at the end of the day, I'm just thankful that we do have insurance, and it does suck to lose that $3,000, but it's much better than being completely 100% out on 5 bikes. That's
True.
much better. So personally, it's just the homeowner's insurance policy, like everything that you guys have said. There are other kinds of insurances that you can get into, which will kind of cross over, segue into the damage part of things too. But they can cover the theft component. But there's actual like individual insurance policies that you can take out on bicycles for crash and for theft and for just general damage. Like let's say that you're out on a ride and you go down and you crack your frame. Like our good friend Jerry Lawrence, was racing out at PIR and got caught up in a crash, and him and probably somebody else landed.
Jerry Pruitt,
crashed, and his frame cracked him 3 different places. The whole frame is completely demolished and totaled. Granted, he can take it to like a Ruckus Composites to get it fixed, but that's a pretty hefty price tag just to get that fixed in 3 different spots plus to paint match. So if
that
Jerry
might be like $1,500 just to repair it.
Yeah, and so you're starting to talk about like, well, is it worth it to to do that versus just buy a new frame? Because what's the value of that once it's all fixed? Granted, we know that it's going to be stronger. The integrity of it's going to be good because Ruckus does a good job. But are you going to buy a frame that's been repaired? Or is that a carbon fiber frame that's been repaired? I mean, I would ride it if it was my own and I knew the whole.
Yeah.
But if I went to buy a bike from you and I discovered that you've had it fixed because of a crash and it's been carbon fixed, I'm probably going to walk away.
Yeah.
I would hesitate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless the price was really
I was
right.
about to say, unless the price was great. And then,
Right.
and then you're like, maybe.
That's why I said hesitate.
So Jake, I'll paint a scenario for you, segueing between bike damage and also like kind of insurance issues
Sure.
too. So I think I've told parts of this story before on this podcast. When I was in undergrad, I think it was my sophomore year or junior year of undergrad in Ohio, at Ohio Northern, my loop went out to the middle of nowhere, and I was riding my Allay, which was an aluminum frame.
Yeah.
Thank God for aluminum frames. And there were 2 kids messing around on their dirt bikes coming
told
in
this
off the
one
road.
before, yep.
Yeah, and one of the kids swiped me. I don't really remember anything after that except for waking up in the ditch.
That's right.
And the discussion of, I think he's dead. So I get up and start screaming at the kids, getting angry. We discuss. I thought they were going to bolt. They didn't. One kid wanted to bolt. And I told them, I was like, I don't know where you boys live, but one of you staying here with me and one of you's going. Now, me being concussed at this time, there was probably a poor way for me to deal with this situation. So I'm going through this because I want to know where in this I made poor decisions, which was all over this entire situation. But I basically sent, they did not have cell phones on them. This is back in flip phone era. So we basically had, I had one of the younger ones stay with me. So I kidnapped a young child, and then the other one went home.
These are how old? How old are these kids?
They were, I think the youngest was like 10, and the older one was like 14, I think. 13 or 14. But the 13 or 14-year-old's one who wanted to leave me for dead. So that 10-year-old was a great kid.
That guy's dead. We're out of here.
So in my head, I thought if the younger one stays with me, the older brother will not want to ditch this kid.
Smart move.
So one of the bikes was broken. The one that hit me, obviously. He rides the other one home, gets his dad, who comes back in a truck to pick me up. I am at this point, this poor man has to pull up on me bleeding everywhere. I mean, I look like I just came out of like a zombie massacre. Put my bike in the back of his truck. Dad is super nice. The 14-year-old got a talking to and is like being apologetic. But I agreed when we got back after kind of coming in and out and really seriously being concussed at this point that I was fine with just taking their number down. And he told me tomorrow I'm going to come by with a check for whatever we think the wheels and the components are worth. The frame was fine because of lay aluminum frames you could drop off the Grand Canyon.
The
and they're
Nokia
great.
phone of that
Was
era,
great.
right?
Which for him, he was actually pretty happy. He's like, hey, man, that's a pretty tough bike. I was like, yeah, man, this is lay. But the wheels tacoed and toast because your son sideswiped my front wheel. So I agreed, taking only his phone number down, that he was going to come back the next day with a check. He did.
But did you know where they lived, or did you?
No idea.
Okay, so
Didn't think
where did
he
they
took
drop
that
you
down.
off at?
They dropped me back off at my apartment at school.
Okay.
Yeah, bloodied and really, really confused.
He could have just never seen you,
Never
talk
seen
to you
me
again.
Could have given me a wrong number and never seen me again. How would you have done differently in that situation?
Well, nowadays, what I would do is I would have him pull out his driver's license and I would take a picture of it.
Yep.
They're smart. Yeah.
So that would be.
I had a Samsung flip phone at that point.
Right.
It probably took. I had no idea if that thing took pictures or not. But
Or you write down his license plate number.
Yep.
yeah.
That
And
would have
driver's
thrown
license
in
if
his
you can
car.
get it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, jumping into the back of his truck was probably not smart because he could have also killed me and taken me out into a field somewhere.
Also
but
that.
that's, yeah.
I'm going to bury this idiot.
Guy was so nice. His kids, that 14-year-old, like wrote me a letter of apology the next day when he came back, handed me the check. His dad made him hand me the check.
Dude,
awesome guy.
that's like
Awesome
best
guy.
case scenario.
Yeah.
I told those kids, I was like, I hope you still ride dirt bikes. He's like, my dad made me sell the broken one. I have to try and fix it too. I was like, learn a life lesson, young man. I'm sorry, but I hope.
Because a lot of times people get hit and just drive away.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, I think I hit that cyclist. Nobody's around.
I completely
here. I'm out of
understand
here.
the 14-year-old's first reaction when
Yeah,
he
it's
hits
like,
me
oh
and
my
I'm laying
gosh.
in the ditch and he's like, I might have just killed somebody. I'm going home. I was 14 once. I understand that mindset, but his dad handled that so well. Yeah.
I'd love to hear that kid's story to this day.
Oh, I would
That'd be
love to go back and
fantastic,
meet
yeah.
them. I really would. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope those kids are doing awesome.
So
They're probably not listening to this, but if they are.
getting back to the scenario that I was talking about with Jerry, what if Jerry had some sort of like insurance policy on his bike where he could actually replace the broken stuff?
Do they make insurance policies for
They
broken
do.
frames?
They do. Yeah. And the question that I have for that is like that works great in certain scenarios. So there's going to be a deductible. So you're probably looking at somewhere in the ballpark of $500 to $1,000, which starts to kind of like be like, all right. And then the other part of it is like you're paying monthly for this, and so it's a total crapshoot. Like if you are the type of person that knows you're going to crash, then you probably should have that. But I mean, how many? Well, let me ask you, Lance. This is a good scenario.
If
It's
you
like,
race
since-
crits, you should for sure
okay,
have
just
this.
for your road bike. Like, how many parts and pieces have we had to replace on that since you had your crash at Palomar Mountain?
We replaced the frame,
We replaced the wheels,
replaced the wheels,
and then replaced the wheels again.
then we replaced the wheels again we replaced the front wheel again because I
Hit a rock or
hit
something.
another rock.
Yeah.
But the components were fine. That was it.
Sure, but you know, if we're replacing a frame, granted, we were able to get BMC to help you out with the crash replacement, and that's
like
another thing.
that's
It's
like
like
$6,000 or $7,000 total. There, isn't it?
well, I mean, the frame. If it's just the frame, not the fork, just the frame, you're probably going to be in the ballpark of the MSRP on that frame and module is $4,500. If it's just the frame that they're going to replace, you're probably going to be somewhere in that $3,000 price point if you're paying full retail for it.
Correct.
And if you're able to get like say 40, maybe 50% off, depending upon the manufacturer, because a lot of manufacturers do offer that now in this day and age with COVID. That could be a little bit different. Like, is it worth it for you to have this replacement thing where you're going to pay like a $500 to $1,000 deductible plus you're paying your monthly premiums versus just paying out of pocket and maybe trying to get that crash replacement and like mitigate some of the loss of having to pay MSRP.
Yeah,
I mean, does it make sense?
It depends on if you think you're like, oh, I'm gonna crash each year.
Yeah.
Once a year. Like,
If you're the kind of guy
I'm
that's
gonna
doing
total
it-
a bike, I'm gonna total a bike each year.
Yeah.
If
Why
you're-
is
you're-
everybody looking at me?
Yeah.
Because you do the most dense schedule of racing here.
I have crashed a lot.
Yeah. So a lot of these insurance policies, I think you're going to be paying. It's about $100 a month, and it can go up from there depending upon how much your bike is worth. So let's say you're paying $1,200 a year. Is it worth it for full replacement? I don't know. I've always kind of gone back and forth in my head, and I've always opted not to go that route.
But you know what? There are bikes that are $20,000 bikes.
There's
know?
that,
and
yes.
so well, I'm sure if you put that under your policy, that the premium rates are different than it would be if it was a $3,000 bike. But still, it's just, I think it depends on are you gonna crash?
Yeah.
Because some people know, like I race crits. Going to go down.
Yeah.
I think the metric that I was looking at, Matt, just to go back on that, was I believe it's $100 per $10,000. And that's $100 per month, if I'm not mistaken, that you're going to be paying for insurance on your bicycle.
Yeah, so you're paying $1,200 a month then.
Or $1,200 a year.
On a nice racing bike, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. $1,200 a year. But yeah.
$1,200 a year, my bad, yeah.
So would you guys take out a specific policy on just your bicycle for, like, say, crashing? We'll assume that you're going to have theft coverage through your home. And I believe if you have a bike that's locked up to your car and it gets like the lock gets cut, someone steals, I believe that falls under the guise of auto insurance. I've had a couple people that have had to go through that.
Yeah.
Like Mark Locktiff, you know Mark, he lost a mountain bike when he was down in Bend. He had a really nice Kuwait bike rack, and somebody came and just cut the cable on that and took off with his almost new mountain bike at the time.
Yeah.
And his auto insurance was able to hook him up, and he got a new bike out of it.
That's awesome. Because a lot of times the auto insurance companies will just deny it.
Yeah.
Unless you fight
Make
them.
sure you have good insurance.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, I don't know. For me, I'm just kind of like, that's like a 6 of one, half dozen other kind of situation. If I'm going to take out insurance policy on an actual bike, just the bike itself, I'm going to probably roll the dice and hopefully if something goes awry or goes bad, then I can work something out to get some sort of like a crash replacement. If
I had one bike that I rode all the time, I think I might consider that. But
you got a quiver.
I have more than one. Let's just say I have more than one bike that I ride all the time or that I race all the time. And it just...
Do you think Ironman has insurance for their professional triathletes' bike coverage if it gets stolen? I'm completely joking. Of course they don't.
They probably do, and it probably cost
a lot of money. It's probably covered in my salary from them.
Hey, let me tell you guys. Insurance, the insurance business
it's good
is
business.
Good business.
It seems like, and I think good business usually doesn't like shelling out money to people that aren't in their business.
Yeah. They like to keep it to make even more money.
Yes.
Huh. Well,
while we're talking about theft, do you
go.
want to talk about the AirTags?
Yes. I was going to get into that. As a matter of fact, they're over here in this cabinet, and we'll just kind of jump into that whole arena right now. Aside from putting invisible ropes on our bikes and watching people crash funnily, there are
4-pack or
there's the 4-pack. It's $100 for 4 Apple AirTags, and you guys watch the GP Llamas his page channel on YouTube. He actually did a bit on that when those came out this past summer, and he was talking about the 4 different locations, the 4 most popular locations that people put them in. The first one was inside the stem, so you take off you can take off the handlebars, and there's usually like a void inside the stem, and just putting it in there, like taping it or whatnot. Another one was up underneath the seat. Another one was in a 3D printed water bottle cage piece that actually goes between the water bottle cage and the frame, and it just looks like it's a part of the bottle cage. And I'm drawn. Oh, I think
the fourth we won't mention, so that anybody listening to this thinking of stealing a bike won't know where the fourth option could be.
And I believe the fourth option was just underneath the bottom bracket on the bottom of the frame. And he started doing a bunch of tests with these AirTags in there, and he basically set up his bike in the park, and then he had his phone. You have to have a specific phone to enable the close proximity. What do they call that? It's just whatever, like the microscopic tracking, so that it like actually walks you up to the actual thing. It's like
I think you have to have a modern iPhone.
I think it's the new 12, if I'm not mistaken, 11 or the 12. I think. Well, it's a more modern. It has to have a specific thing inside of the Apple phone. But anyway, the long story short was the one inside the stem worked absolutely nothing at all. It did not pick up at all. It's just being inside that metal stem. The phone could not pick it up, and it could not track it at all. So the AirTag actually has to be able to ping the Apple mesh network, and Matt's probably going to be a good resource on this, but all Apple devices create this mesh network, and they will all communicate with each other. And so if anybody, like I could unknowingly walk by an AirTag and not even know it, my phone will ping that AirTag, and then it will send it up to the Apple Cloud network, and then everybody can see where that device is. Like, they're using my device to create this mesh network to show where things are at, even though they're not showing my phone in particular, but my phone's a part of this network. So, and the AirTags themselves, if I'm not mistaken, help create the mesh network, and that's what makes their mesh network so...
That part might not be true, but...
The AirTag?
The AirTag, it doesn't...
One AirTag doesn't talk to another AirTag?
Not that I'm aware of.
I was under the impression it did, but I could be wrong.
Right. You might, I haven't,
we can look into that, but
much,
let's just say, though, that arguably the biggest cell phone network in the world, or just cell phone in general, is going to be the Apple ecosystem. Like, there's more, they have more phones out there than Android, right? Or at least here in the United States.
In the U.S., yes. In the world, no. Android's bigger.
Is it?
Oh, really?
Yes, worldwide, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
By a lot, because they're more affordable.
Huh.
But that being said, there's a very good chance that if you have an AirTag on your wherever, there's an iPhone that's going to be close enough.
So, and the competitor to the Apple AirTag is the Tile.
Tile,
yeah, that's called Tile, but those all talk to each other, and that's how they create their mesh network. And I don't think
Tile's usually what people put on like their keychains and stuff, right?
Correct, and that's what people are doing. Yeah. So you have to think that that's the next biggest competitor to the Apple stuff, and the Apple's going to be far bigger than that of tile, if I'm not mistaken.
If you were to take an AirTag and throw it in the woods where there would be no iPhone that would walk past it,
You're
would
screwed.
not get found.
No,
Yeah, it would not get
exactly.
found. Yeah,
So the point of the story is like the AirTag needs to be able to connect or ping off of something, whether it be a phone or something that's going by. And the chances of the would-be robber having an iPhone are probably pretty good because, like if
or
you were
someone in his network.
somebody's going to have an iPhone because like all four of us sitting here at the desk. I mean,
they're bringing the bike back to somebody who has an iPhone.
Or
for sure.
they could be driving by somebody, or they could be walking by somebody and just it's gonna ping them. So, but the AirTag, the important part is it has to make connection with a phone, and the one that was put in the stem wasn't able to pick up any signal at all. So it's
Really?
like
What kind of was it metal stem?
it was
or
an alloy stem, yeah. So it wasn't able. Now I don't know if that changes if it's a carbon stem, but
I would think that would make
a
difference.
Then he started doing the same test with the one under the bottom bracket. He did the same test with the one in the water bottle cage, the 3D printed little holder, and then he did the one under the seat. And the two that worked the best were the ones in the water bottle cage and the one under the seat. Those two worked better than all of the others. So those were the two locations that he said were best. There's got to be a few other spots on the bike that might be a good place to put stuff. I'm thinking maybe under a hood cover. You can maybe slide one up in there. It makes it a little bit bulky.
Oh, yeah.
They're like they're bigger than a quarter. They're like $half size, right?
Yep, and they're thicker, obviously. So
similar to a quarter.
They have
under the hood wouldn't be
they
bad.
have
Notice it.
they have a battery.
They're thicker.
They're
They
thicker.
do. They have so it's
They have a
probably
2032 battery.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
okay.
probably what adds to its thickness. And when you get them, you basically pull this
Now,
little tab to
honest
activate
question:
the battery. Yeah.
If you have this information, what do you do with it?
Like,
Let's
you
say somebody
pick
stole
the
your bike
police?
from your house. I mean, do you contact police
So,
directly? What
so
do you? Yeah.
two things. I've seen this. Like, if the police get involved and you press charges and things like that, your bike goes in as evidence. And I think that there's some delay with you getting your bike back, supposedly.
A little bit. You just have to prove it's yours.
Yeah,
But what
and
if you have
then-
a race that weekend? No,
But if
okay.
you, but one of the things a lot of people are doing are just like you go and you're just like, hey, that's my bike.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Okay.
So
now,
That's big.
are you
Probably
able
bigger
to
than
send this
quarter.
information like directly to your local precinct, or is there, I mean, what
I'm
is
sure that they're willing to use that. I don't know if they
It's
can.
all new. This is all new.
Yeah, it's true.
You
This is
most
gonna be
likely
interesting.
would have a contact with your police that you've already made a claim saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm missing this bike," and you would have a phone number for somebody. You would call them and say, "Hey, my Apple AirTag pinged, and this is the location."
Yeah.
And there's actually quite a few YouTube videos of people with their bikes getting stolen and then trying to recover with AirTags.
Yeah, there was a guy that he's the one that did the one where he sent an AirTag to, I think it was to North Korea. He sent one to Tim Cook, and he sent one to someone else. Like I think it was, I don't know. He just sent it to some like notable people around the world, and then he tracked the AirTags as they traveled across the world, and once they landed in these respective people, and I watched his video. He actually did a video that he put an AirTag inside a set of keys and another one on his bicycle, and he wanted to test it and see how it was. And then he said, "Oh, and stay tuned for a video that I'm going to talk about that did these things." And it has since come out. I haven't watched that video yet, but I know that it's had millions and millions of views, which was kind of interesting. And going back to the video that he made about the keys and the bike, the keys one was actually kind of interesting because he was able to pick it up and it pinged, and he was somewhere in Europe, and it ended up traveling, I think it was 300 kilometers away to a little town in Germany. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go try and claim these things now because this person stole the keys, and I just wanted to see if I can get them back. I want to see if this works. So he saves up money, and he takes this long train ride. I think he said he spent like 300 or 400 euros just to get there. And then he gets there, and like he got it to ping, and he was able to get there. And if you look at the phone, when they actually show the whole thing working, it'll show on a map where it's at, but then you start to use the fine
closer detail.
The closer detail, whatever, and it kind of has like all these like little particles bouncing around, and that means that it's made connection with it, but it can't give you like the specific thing because it'll change from that to another screen that will actually show like, all right, here it is. So it gives you a heading, and it tells you how many feet you are away from the device. He couldn't get it to go to that stage, but he knew he was close, and he knew that he was probably within 20, 30, 40 feet. But he got to this apartment complex. It was like a multi-unit place. He couldn't get in there. He couldn't get it to ping, and he even like convinced people to let him into the courtyard, and people were trying to walk him around, and he was trying to connect with it, and he got really close, but he couldn't ever get there. And he actually made 2 trips to this town to make it happen. I think he said he spent over $1,000 when it was all said and done. And he said the best thing he got out of it was a big old plate of German schnitzel and a big German beer, something like that.
Not a bad trip.
So that one didn't necessarily work. per se, and that's one of those situations. Like if it's a condensed area and then you can't get access to all these places and you can't get it to give you the exact location, it's like what is the police department going to go and start going door to door to see if they can find your bike, if that's what the situation that you're going to be in?
Yeah.
Who knows? But the bike story was a little bit better in that he finally got somebody to steal his bike. He said he tried like 14 or 15 times to get people to steal his bike, leaving it out all over the place and leaving it outside overnight, taking it to parks. Nobody would ever
That's
take
amazing. Somebody's trying. You try to get somebody to steal your bike, they can't. But
finally,
someone break into your house. Someone break into a shed and steal 7 of yours.
Right.
Finally, somebody does steal it though, and he's like, "All right, sweet. Somebody stole my bike. Let's see if we can do this." And sure enough, he got it to ping, and he can see that the bike was moving around. He finds and sees where it finally stops, and it's at another gated complex of. I think we'll call it like a lower income housing kind of thing, but it was behind a gated security. I don't know exactly what the deal was. So he actually went up, he explained the story to the security guard. The security guard actually escorted him in. They drove around and the same thing. They couldn't get it to actually like give him the...
Actually locate the specific spot.
It gets to a point where it says, all right, it's 30 feet this way. And it'll tell you, like, as you're getting closer, it'll just like start counting down the numbers. It couldn't get to that notion. So he's crap. So he ends up giving up and he goes back home, but he's still tracking it. Like he sees another day that all of a sudden he gets a ping that it moves and it goes to some train station and it walks to the end of the train station and comes back. And this is, just little things that are happening. Or maybe that was the keys. I don't know. But he sees the bike moving around. Finally, he sees it again and he goes out and he's like, I see it. It says that I'm 800 feet away from it. And I think he ended up running to the location, but the guy had already ditched the bike, but he found the bike and got the bike back. And he wouldn't have been able to track it down otherwise without the
guy knew he was being tracked?
I don't know, but he ditched it outside of a housing or something like that. And maybe like the security guard tipped the kid off or whoever it was that took him. It took his bike.
Yeah.
But the net of the story was he was able to get his bike back, and it was able to be something that he tracked. And if somebody had stolen the bike without that on there, he would have no idea. He would have
never been able to find it. Yeah.
Didn't know if it was halfway around the world or like two stories.
And this is the only thing that I get nervous about with people around here trying this is like, if you're generally somebody who's going to steal a bicycle is not your most savory character. So if you're going out vigilante style against them, but you don't know what situation you're jumping into there,
that can be dangerous.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
but
I mean, you think about. I know this is a terrible story to bring up, but when Jay got attacked, I mean, if he had this technology like this, I am sure those guys were carrying something, knives on him, anything. I mean, they would harm him for sure. They already tried to kill him once.
But for us here at the lab, like we generally find out pretty quickly that something happened because somebody comes in, they break whatever, and they get into the building. They take a bike, and the alarm's going off. So that triggers us to start looking because the alarm company then calls the appropriate people.
Yes.
The authorities are called, and then we're all alerted to it. And if I know that somebody's broken into the building within 15, 20 minutes, the first thing I could do is pull that up and say, hey, police that are just showing up there,
this is where they're going.
This is where it's at. Take my phone, just give it back to me when you're done, and go get them.
Yeah.
Why is that not a viable solution?
It should be.
I don't know what the rules are.
No. I'm sure that the thieves all listen to this podcast are now going to be going over these bikes with a fine-tooth comb to find out where the air tags
are.
Jake, you got some secret spots to hide stuff.
Oh yeah.
Not talking about it online, but
I mean, this technology is just going to get better.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I mean, there's a lot of downsides to these things. Like you get like stalkers and things like that. They're going on, and that's another thing is there is a little function on there like. If it gets orphaned and it could be in a stalking kind of a situation, it starts to like chime and it will alert people. Like if it sits idle, I think for 3 days, it'll make a chime like, "Hey, I'm here." And like if you have that on, you're like, "I didn't put that on me. Why is this making noise?"
Wait, these things will like ding.
If they sit idle for 3 days and they're quote unquote orphaned, they'll make a little like it's a real subtle little Apple.
This is some
chime.
like awful Black Mirror episode right now. So, oh my gosh,
that's true.
So.
Yeah.
This is completely off topic. Have you guys seen the new Ray-Ban sunglasses that are coming out with the Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah, Facebook.
What? They have like a camera in them,
and you cannot.
Wait, what?
You have to look for these things. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
They're sunglasses that have. Yeah. They actually have a camera that will record videos.
Oh my god!
And they have speakers in the arm things.
Yeah, it's like the bone conduction stuff.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So, but Evan, if you saw these sunglasses on me, you would have no idea that you were on my YouTube.
They look like,
or you're on my Facebook, or you're on my Instagram.
Or that you're being filmed.
Yeah. Anyway, that's off topic. That's another time. But anyway,
that'll be the topic next episode. We're going to go down the rabbit hole of what is an invasion of your privacy. If you're wearing sunglasses that are recording me, I think that if you're somebody who wears those without telling somebody you're recording them, you deserve to be punched. That's terrible.
Well, anyway, so there's this whole AirTag developing industry, and these things are only going to get smaller, more lightweight, more sophisticated, better firmware. But I mean, this is the first generation, and they're already able to do some pretty cool stuff with them. And the Apple network is ginormous, so it's gonna work, and it's only gonna get better. So that's a good way for us to consider protecting our bikes. Is this something that you guys would consider putting on all of your bikes?
I bought a 4-pack,
Did you?
and I'm planning on putting 2 on 2 bikes. I mean, I am
now considering this. Yes,
it's one of those location things. It's like I'm not sure exactly where to put it on the bike. So.
It really does matter. I mean, you don't want it to be out there for the world to see, because obviously that's going to thwart your
fall off when I'm mountain biking.
Exactly.
Right?
I think the 3D printed bottle cage thing is probably a pretty good thing to do. But as the thieves become more savvy with this, they're going to look that and hey, there it is.
What would maybe be a good idea is if you
put it in your saddlebag. I just don't know if thieves take that off when if they're like stripping the bike apart.
Tubes go for pretty good on the black market.
That's
so,
right. Now things are hot.
So I've got other ideas, Matt, that you and I can talk about off air. Okay. But that's a pretty good little opportunity there for us to protect our investments. Let's get into the actual protection, and this is getting a little long too. Let's get into the protection of the actual frame itself. Like there's stuff like Ride Wrap. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that company, but and they're Lizard Skin makes stuff too. But things that you can actually put on your bike to protect it from things like rocks flying, or helicopter tape's another popular one that a lot of people use, and that's actually what I recommend to a lot of folks. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but you put that on there, and it's pretty bulletproof when you're talking about gravel and chunks of stuff flying at your bike.
Do you put a strip of that like along where the front wheel would kick up rocks?
Yeah, on the down tube.
Down tube.
Yep.
On the down tube
and bottom of the down
tube. And on the chain stays.
And on the chain stay.
Especially underneath the chain.
The bottom side of the chain stays?
Nope. No. Just the top for where the chain would slap it. So it protects the frame there. And a lot of times people put it we've had some bikes come into the shop where they were bike packing a lot.
Yeah.
And they're putting on frame bags.
Yep, that makes sense.
And you can put that tape in places where you'd be holding on the frame bag to just prevent the rub from like the Velcro straps from ruining the paint job.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
That's something that could be very helpful to the longevity of your frame.
Yeah, and I also think like if in the back of your mind you're planning on like I'm going to use this bike for 2-3 years and then I'm going to resell it. Like
yes, you need
that's perfect opportunity to be like, hey, I'm going to just do a couple little things, Sometimes it's just like put a piece of tape in this spot where a cable rubs or whatever it is, and it's just like that's the thing, and you can take it off when you're going to sell it and make sure everything looks really sharp and clean.
You can clean that tape off.
That
just
stuff
fine.
Makes such a big difference when you're selling a bike. But
right, little scratches.
Yeah, I mean, if you're buying a bike and there's no scratch on it, you're like, oh my gosh,
this guy took care of his bike.
This is not like Matt. Doesn't look like one of my bikes.
My road bike, like the very first time I packed it in the van, I scratched the top tube. I had the bike like 2 weeks, brand new frame.
That's usually when scratches happen. That's in the first month you own the bike. Yeah,
just scratch the top tube.
It's just gonna happen. Just get it out of the way in the first month.
Exactly.
Just have the one spot you scratch, and then you're good.
Right.
Hey Matt, do you want to say goodbye real quick?
I'm off to cross country practice.
You got to go coach the kids.
This is fun and all, but
you got responsibilities.
I got to go coach some kids. Catch you guys later.
All right.
Can I race your kids?
Yep.
This year
what video do we have coming out this coming week? Just real quick.
Last week I did the Garmin Forerunner 55.
That's
I think
video.
I'm going to do the Brighton computer this week if I can find some time to work on it.
I would like to reiterate what DC Rainmaker said about your last video. Excellent introduction, dude. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Matt's so good at that.
Your swim form doesn't suck either.
My swim form's not beautiful.
No, it's actually more. It's prettier than you think it is. It really is.
All right, dude.
Later, guys.
Okay, take care, bub. All right, where are we at?
We're talking frame protection.
We were talking frame protection.
I had to run to the loo.
Yeah.
So frame protection. What are you guys doing? Are you guys putting any extra additions onto your bicicletas?
I haven't, other than the chain stays.
Yeah. I don't worry about my road bike too much. Gravel bike, I've got some nice down tube protectors on there, and these all came stock on the BMC, which was kind of nice.
I just didn't buy carbon for my cross bike. Yeah. So. My gravel bike just gets crap eaten out of it, and it's okay.
The BMC came with like these integrated like sticker panels on the down tubes to kind of protect the most
sensitive areas. Yeah.
the spot that gets beat up the most, where your front wheel is kicking rocks straight into.
Yep. And for you folks out there that are still running
chunks of paint missing all over my frame, but
running exposed cables like the housing, whether it be brake lines, hydraulic brake lines, hydraulic, not just standard brakes, all that other stuff that comes out of the stem and then it, or the handlebars and goes around your tube, put some stuff on your head tube, especially if that is touching, because if you put lots and lots of miles on your bike and you turn and all that stuff, those things will rub like divots into the frame. They'll not only take out the paint, but they'll take out the carbon too, and that will actually weaken and devalue your bike.
Yes.
So those little stickers that you can put on there, they're worth their weight because they don't
the
cost very much.
The entire top tube or the entire head tube area was like rubbed
from the
down
cables.
From the paint.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
All
absolutely.
these spots around
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you guys want to touch on to protect your bicycle investment? Get some good bike handling skills. Don't crash it.
There you go. I was gonna say just
That's right.
never leave it anywhere. Just ride it all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody can steal your bike.
Oh,
You're
you know, it's
constantly
funny.
riding it.
Like I very rarely like cafe stop with my
I don't.
my spendy road bike
Nope, ever.
Yeah.
Never.
because
I will bring it into the coffee shop.
I don't
Like,
want-
you can't bring that in. I'll be like, cool, I'm not getting coffee today. That's fine.
Okay, I'm just gonna go somewhere else.
No, if you live where I live, or if you live in downtown Portland and you leave your bike outside the coffee shop, you are just tempting somebody there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of crazy people who live in downtown Vancouver, and they will gladly sprint up, grab a bike, and run away with it.
No, I know this just because I know you guys, but I don't, and I know that you guys haven't done this, but what do you think about the ceramic coating that people are putting on their bikes now? Have you seen that kind of stuff where like nothing sticks to it? It's like Teflon and it's just crazy and stuff rolls right off of it.
Oh, no. I
And
haven't
supposedly
seen
it
that.
provides a level of protection. But if you think about it, if dirt can't stick to it and water's just rolling right off of it, and it's hydrophobic and all that other fun stuff, not having that on there, and if it's just hitting to the ground, is going to decrease the friction that you're going to get from dirt and all that other stuff.
Right.
So it's going to kind of
Potentially make you faster.
Maybe that too.
Is that cheating?
I think that might be something for us to look into for a video one of these days.
UCI
So
legal?
That's interesting.
there's companies that will actually do this for you. They actually do it for cars too.
Oh yeah,
which
they've
is
been
kind
doing.
of-
Oh yeah, when I used to detail cars at the shop, that's what we did all the time.
and they're doing it
that's
on
basically
bicycles.
what Armor
and-
All does to your wheels.
Yeah, and then there's product that you can buy now to put on your bike to coat it. So I don't know. I think there's something there. I think there's something worth looking
That's
into.
pretty cool.
So the last couple things is set your privacy zones on Strava, so folks can't find out where you're riding to all the time.
Yep.
And you're posting up pictures on Strava of your beautiful bike, and next thing you know, someone's like, "I'm gonna go take that bike and let me see where Lance Epler lives."
Right.
Yeah, Lance.
I know.
And then
Piper is trained to kill.
Yes.
For anybody listening to this,
She will
Trained to
tear
kill.
your throat out.
yeah, she's sneaky too. You won't know she's coming.
and that's about it. That's it for me on that topic. Anything else from you guys? We good?
No.
Let's shut this bad boy down. Let's do one last thing. Who wants to go first? You guys want to Rochambeau for it?
I'll go
Go.
because I got very little to talk about other than I'm going to race
You
again
racing
this
this weekend?
weekend.
Corn
Hopefully
cross?
that corn cross race will happen to go down. I'm expecting a bigger crowd there and a lot more teammates out
Yeah.
there racing
Yeah.
because it's within like half an hour of Portland. So
From the Vancouver area, how long is that drive?
it's like 45 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's in the town of Boring, Oregon.
Oh, it's in Boring. Okay.
Boring. Yep.
It's in Boring.
One of the
So-
greatest places
It's just-
in
it's-
this wonderful state of Oregon.
It's on your way to Mount Hood from the Portland area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Evan Price, one last thing.
I'll be racing Saturday in Sweet Home, Oregon. Very hilly course. Probably going to be storming, maybe rain as long as there's not lightning. I'm all for it. It's going to be a slow, muddy, awful day, which will be
Exciting.
great. I'm excited.
Are you going to be the best of the West?
I better be. Unless I lose to the young kid again, which if I can't keep on losing to people in their early 20s. This is
You're so happy to be 30 years old now. It's not even funny.
well, now it's a great built-in excuse because when I lose to anybody in their mid-early 20s, I'm just like, well, I'm past my prime. So,
Seriously, though, what is the peak age for a pro triathlete?
I'm planning on being. I better be super fast when I'm like 35, 36. I know I got like 5-6 more years.
Like,
to
of
get
all
faster.
the biggest names that you can think of, what was the average age of all of them?
Over the Ironman distance, a lot of guys agree that you got to be like years into the sport. So for plenty of guys, I think on average you're going to see like early to mid 30s. I think for women it's even later. I think.
Wow.
But
You have to build that
Jan Frodeno's like
en-
40
endurance.
years old
Right,
right
years
now.
of fitness,
So
yeah.
and
Right.
Jan Frodeno is bar none the fastest in the world right now, unequivocally. It's not even an argument anymore. So yeah.
Cool. My one last thing is Lance and I are going to have a video coming out pretty soon about tubeless tires.
Fantastic.
Should be fun. we recorded this a little while ago, but I'm starting to get back into the rhythm of things, and we've got a video coming out, and we're wondering, why aren't all people riding tubeless on the road?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So you're going to have to watch that video when it comes out.
I know.
Should be good.
It should be good.
Yeah, we're almost at 1.5K subscribers on our
We
YouTube
almost
channel.
have 1,500 subscribers on YouTube.
Big time.
How
But
much money is that in YouTube world? now?
Nothing.
I think we've made
Nothing.
like 7,
You pay
8 cents.
YouTube. That's how much it is.
We're paying them.
Yeah. We've had some really nice compliments, though, and some
We have.
people that have said some really nice things in the comment sections of some of our videos, and that really just makes me happy. I don't know.
It spurs us on to continue to do it.
So
Yeah.
should go all in on that stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's a wrap for this podcast number 186. 14 to go until we hit 200. Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway,
14.
we do appreciate everybody listening. We will catch you next week. Until then, bye for now.